Hey everybody. So if you caught my post this morning, it was all about homegrown chicken feed. I have honestly mixed my own feed from the beginning. What I do not do anymore though is grind it fine for starters. With 3 kids and everything going on, I now just buy the starter, and about from 2 week mark, I start mixing in my home feed and switch them to that. So I was going to jump in and just show you real fast what my feed looks like. This is actually the hen's ration. It's got whole corn in it, sunflowers, there's some oats in here. This little white powder stuff is not mold. It is actually diatomaceous earth. It is springtime, so I'm deworming everything, so they've got that in there too. And then there's actually wet distillers. This is not something that you might be able to get easily. We have cows. We run a lot of so we feed a lot of distillers. I actually pull the distillers off the sides of the bunker where this payloader can't get to anyway. So it's actually just the cow shrink. Pouring the feed, I've got a metal trash can, keeps the mice out, full of sunflowers, big can full of oats. This is bigger. I can get 3 40-pound bags in here. I do the big can because this is what my horses actually eat, is actually this oats too. So this is a shared feed. This is just chicken feed. And I can get, it's really tight, but I can get 2 40-pound bags in this one. And then this is actually their mineral mix. I get it from Pharrell. Works really good. And then you always offer just eggshells, oyster shells, something else. This is a big diatomaceous earth bag. You can get small 10-pound bags at Walmart. You can get a big 25-pound bag, I think this is, at Tractor Supply. The only difference between my hen's ration and my growing chicks ration is actually the amount of protein. So in my ration, the distillers is the main source of protein. When you're formulating a ration, and we'll actually kind of go over this more over the next couple days, you have to make sure you're meeting net energy and protein requirements. Those are the 2 hardest to meet requirements that you want to make sure are there. So formulate for the protein first, start filling in the others there. The protein in my grower ration is honestly almost double my hen ration. So I'll just kind of give you a rundown. I mix this in pretty big batches because then I only have to mix it maybe once a week. In the summertime, the ration actually lasts longer because they're out foraging. The hens are anyway. So yeah, I usually go through about the same amount of feed year round because when I don't have the growers, everybody's in the hen house. It's winter. There's not a lot of foraging that they do, so I tend to go through more feed with them. In the summertime, the hens go through, it'll be maybe 2 weeks before I fill that feeder, and because they're foraging. But I have stuff in the nursery barn growing, so I'm kind of going through the same amount of feed year round. But ration wise, I wrote it down so I could tell you guys accurately. So on the hen side, I do more protein in the winter time. So it's about, I have everything measured out by my buckets, but I know the weight of the buckets. So right now, we're kind of at the 50 pounds of distillers mark, whereas on the grower, it's actually 150 pounds. The hens is less, again, because we're in the springtime, the bugs are coming out. They can go forage and they'll get most of their forage or their protein from the bugs. The distillers at this point is honestly just in the mix to keep it kind of together, which is why I really like the wet distillers for that part. Corn, I do about 100 pounds of corn, both ration. The difference with the grower ration there is I actually roll it, and I will show you that here at the end. Actually, the picture in the post earlier was actually a picture of my grower ration, so go check that out. Oats, they get about 33 pounds each. Sunflowers, 33 pounds. The mineral is actually more in the hen ration by about double than the grower ration. That's just the way they formulate it. We'll go over that kind of Thursday as far as meeting requirements, but that's what they needed. You overfeed mineral, it may not hurt them. However, you're just throwing your money away. And honestly, the mineral is the most expensive part of any ration. So we've talked a lot about protein, and I use, like I said, the wet distillers. It's kind of like a cake, honestly, once it's all mixed together. The birds love it, but You can't get a hold of wet distillers everywhere, right? I've got cows. We get a truckload in every week, at least one. So it's always fresh. Other sources, milk. If you have milk cow or other things, like get the milk. The hens love it. You can actually use meat. So if you have scraps, chickens are not vegetarians. Sorry to break that to you, but they're not. Like, they will eat a snake. They're kind of gross. They're dinosaurs for a reason. Bugs. We went over that too. Lots of bugs. You can take a board, throw it on the ground. Overnight, the bugs kind of tend to come up to that dark surface, flip it over, and now you got a bug buffet for your chickens. That works really well. What else do we have here? Butchering scraps. If you butcher your own meat, let them chickens clean it up. Especially the innards, they can take care of those too. There are lots of different ways that you can, they're called worm growers or worm beds, worm farms, that's the word. Look those up on YouTube. There's lots of different DIYs. I've seen several of them. I've not actually tried any of them yet, but that's another good protein source for your hens. Sunflowers actually do have quite a bit of protein and oil, which helps them in the winter keep warm. That's why I actually started adding it in, it was in a winter ration, and they just like it so much I left it. Alfalfa is actually another protein source. This also, if you have younger birds, grower birds, you can throw a flake of alfalfa in there. It actually gives them something to do too. So it's kind of entertainment and protein at the same time. 2 things to avoid as far as protein. Soybeans, unless they are heat treated. So soybeans have, I'm going to butcher the name of it, but there is a piece of them, I think it starts with a T. I'd have to go back and look though. But they can't digest it. So it binds it up and actually becomes toxic because they can't get rid of it either. Cottonseed meal is another one, and this is one you probably won't have a lot of unless you live in the South and are close to cotton farms. But cottonseed meal actually has glyphosate, another one that you probably shouldn't, that is toxic to the chickens. Other ways to meet their vitamin mineral requirements. Honestly, when they're out free ranging, they'll probably get a lot of it on their own. Through the bugs, not necessarily the bugs, but the greens, they're constantly scratching in the dirt. Mine love to get into my garden. That's why I have garden fences, like beyond belief. But when you're weeding your garden, throw those over. So whenever I'm weeding, I actually throw those usually into my grower pen because they're not out free ranging. So they get a little extra green stuff. Kitchen scraps, anything like that. As far as grains that are good for them, wheat, corn, oats, Milo. I've used Milo this winter. What else do we have? Sunflowers. Yeah, pretty much any grain they can have. So yeah, drop your questions. I know this is a little longer than normal, but yeah, there's all my chicken nutrition tips for feed.